Welcome to Moana's Meadow Report. Today is Thursday, August 16th, 2018. So I have not yet had a no-spend day. I decided I'm just going to be easier on myself, make the target a little bit smaller, and stick with trying to do once a month. I've still been immersing myself in Grant Cordone's videos, and he talks about recommitting to your goals or your target. So I'm thankful that I have this platform to continuously recommit. Right now, my commitment is to getting the emergency fund, and I still feel kind of embarrassed that I'm struggling to save $1,000. But I just know once I get paid, I should be able to do $200 in there. And then I'll just be that much closer to my $1,000 emergency fund. So I mentioned that I wanted to talk about my power company bill. The particular power company we're with, I average 8 kilowatts a day, which ends up being $1. Last year it said $1.01 per day, and this year it's saying $1.06 per day. So I guess I'm on target compared to last year. I just like to unplug as many things in the house as possible. There's only 2 plugs that remain in, both of which are connected to a power strip. The power strip we click off on in one area of the house, and then the other power strip we do leave that on a continuous basis, because we actually do CenturyLink, and it kind of takes a while for it to upload up again once you have it unplugged, if you want to just get home immediately and go online. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the company that we utilize for the internet. That is, it was getting up there because I guess they do the whole tricky introductory rate once the first 6 months. They're like, oh, here's this great price. And then after 6 months, you're like, hey, this is tricky. Somehow it's more. And so I was upset and looking into going into like doing business with another internet company, because you vote. Dave Ramsey says you vote for who you like based upon where you put your money. So I was just going to put my money with a different internet company. But that internet company would take a while because they had my address wrong. They haven't corrected it yet, and they'd have to install it, get a work order out, and I guess it's a 3-step process. And the rate that they're giving for an introductory rate, since the competition is so fierce, the company that I have internet with now, they went ahead and said that they would honor the price that the other internet company has. So that should get down to, or should have been adjusted where it's $50 a month, and it should maintain itself at $50 a month. No extra fees for renting any equipment. And yeah, so right now I'm pretty satisfied with that price. Supposedly the other company guarantees that it'll be quite a bit faster. But I mean, like, just the inconvenience of the possibility of it not working and having to have it installed at the same price, I'm not sure if that'd be worth it. So I haven't made that step yet. But it's just like, one of the things I told a friend of mine is, once we started listening to the Dave Ramsey program, I got really aggressive with my money, because I'm like, wait, it's my money, so I need to know where it's going. And we had a bill with a medical company, and I was like looking at all of the numbers, all of the invoices I had, and I was like, wait a minute, something's not adding up. And I utilize Google Sheets, so I was putting all those totals in there, and I'm like, that still doesn't make sense. I swear we're getting overcharged. So I called, and the people on the other line of the phone, on the other end, they were... You could tell when you're speaking to a veteran in regards to if they know what they're doing, if they know their way around the system, if they know how to help you, if they're comfortable enough, if they don't know how to help you, to find out how to help you, and what kind of experience they have to make your experience over the phone more pleasant. So one person was like, oh yeah, everything's legit, we're fine. And I was just like, okay, well, it's not making sense. And she's like, no, this is right. So then I just made a promise to myself. I'm going to call them every week until I really figure out, until I get someone on the line that knows what they're talking about and can help me. So then I called the next week, and another representative was like, no, everything's making sense. Oops, it's been my 6 minutes, but I'll try to wrap this up. And then a third time I called, I got a gentleman, and he was saying everything was fine, but then I was walking him through what I discovered, and he's like, wait a minute. So he puts me on hold. He comes back. He's like, looks like you've been overcharged $500 something. So we'll give you a credit for that. And then you'll only owe $100 more or something like that. And I was like, that's more like it. Jeez. And it's nothing. It was because they were transferring from one system to another system, and the systems weren't quite talking to each other, or it just created another bill that didn't exist or something strange. So he corrected it, and he apologized, and he was very kind, and, professional, knowledgeable, and willing to kind of take a good look at what was going on. So hopefully me bringing it to their attention, if they saw other people going through it, they'd be able to rectify that quickly for them. But it's like, you're going to be your own advocate when it comes to your money. And that company wasn't going to scour people's bills and be like, oops, we made a mistake. Like, they're not going to take the time to do that. So yeah, you just have to be your own advocate. The same exact story happened. We had to take my husband to some therapy session, like physical therapy sessions. And they said, well, you need to at least pay this much because your insurance only covers this much. So we want you to pay at least $100, but, copay. But sometimes when we figure out how much the insurance covers, we might need an additional $40. So it'd be $140. So you'd have to pay us the difference in price. So then I was like, let me just pay the $140 every time right now, just so I'm not surprised. And then I was doing that. Plus we were getting reimbursed with our flex spending. But then I was adding it up afterwards, because it takes a while for the reimbursement agency to talk to the agency that you had work done with. And they were like, oh yeah, you're paid for. And then I called back. I'm like, so do I have a credit? What do I have? And, you have to wait. Usually when it's a small company, you have to wait for the person that handles the billing to get in the office. Sometimes it's her day off, so you have to keep on calling. And then I got her. She goes, yeah, it looks like we owe you a credit. We owe you, it was close to $200. And that was the exact discrepancy I was seeing with my flex spending reimbursement. So I was like, okay, that's more like it. So then she goes, okay, I'll look into it. I'll talk to corporate, blah, blah, blah. And then she doesn't get back to me. And then I go out of town, and then I come back, and I'm waiting for a check or something, a credit on my debit card. I didn't know which method she was going to use. Still nothing. And I'm like, well, I could use this money to pay for other bills and such. So I said, I called back and I was like, hey, did that ever get rectified? And she's like, oh, let me look. I thought we sent you a check. Or I thought we refunded it. I'm like, actually, no, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I looked through all my records. And she goes, all right, well, let me call corporate and let you know. So she calls corporate. And so then she didn't call me back. And then I called her again to say, okay, so what did corporate find out? Like, I was doing my best to maintain myself, not get angry, and just understand she must be bombarded with lots of clientele or something she has to look into for billing or what have you. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And she's like, okay, yeah, we're fine. We haven't done it yet, so we'll reimburse you the difference, $198.97 or what have you. And then I was just like, thank you. But it took a good 2.5 months for that to get rectified. Whereas, yeah, and I think that was about the average for the other company, because I had to keep on waiting for bills to come in to see what was really going on, what I was really owing. So it's just really interesting that you have to be your own advocate. Just do everything you can, do the best you can to, and learn how to be patient, because you're going to have to, over the phone, you're going to have to try to navigate through the automated system, and then finally get a live person. You know, it's not fun, but it's worth it, because so far, because I've been diligent, I've had 5, 6, 7, 8, close to $900 or $1,000 that I've had to fight for. And it ends up being worth it. You feel really accomplished and hopefully not too frustrated. So I would just scour your bills, do a self-audit, or, yeah, if that's the right terminology for it, and just assess it all and make sure everything's correct. Just don't be afraid to be your own advocate. So the best of luck to you out there, and have an amusing rest of your, I'm going to say, night. All right, meow.